Now we got ADAM22 talking about some drama that he kept starting. Imagine ADAM22 circulating and stirring up all this drama just so he got something to react to. Imagine that. That all being said, man, let's slide into ADAM22 talking about Munchie B and YG being detained by the LAPD, or CHP rather, for the unalivement of Draco the Ruler. Let's get into it.
All right, so we've got huge news breaking this morning concerning YG being arrested in regards to the murder of Draco the Ruler. Let's get right into this. So TMZ has actually posted about it. I had already told the No Jumper team to start searching YG's name across databases and everything like that, but it seems like TMZ got this before anybody else. YG has been detained as cops execute search warrant over Draco the Ruler's murder. And we're going to get into a whole bunch of different things that connect to this, but let's take a look at this article first. Rapper YG had
all those things come from the No Jumper platform. All of them.
Run-in with the cops Thursday morning during a SWAT response, but he was ultimately released, TMZ has learned. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ.
Random. Adam, who is your home decor, bro? Like, nigga, you live with somebody grandma? The fake plants? Goodness gracious, my dude. This is not 1987. Step your game up. Somebody get this man a fucking interior designer.
That the SWAT team responded around 7 a.m. in Burbank, California. YG was detained during the police.
Keep in mind, the No Jumper podcast is also in Burbank. Not saying that it's related, but just something to point out.
Response before the officers eventually let him go. So right here, we've got YG being grilled by police officers. I don't know if these are the same police officers who came to No Jumper looking to speak to myself and Munchie B about Draco's murder, but they are definitely from the same jurisdiction, which we'll get into momentarily. Yeah, sources tell TMZ that CHP, aka California Highway Patrol, was the lead agency.
It would be California Highway Patrol, aka CHP,
on the matter, and that Burbank SWAT assisted. So the interesting thing about this is the fact that a lot of people thought that it was like somehow
so the same police agency that's a part of the No Jumper investigation with Jay Reed, Burbank, has teamed up with the CHP for this situation that's also been unfolding on No Jumper. Interesting.
That me and Munchie B were lying about CHP coming to talk to us about the Draco murder. The truth is that for whatever reason, the grounds that the concert was taking place on when Draco was killed, that was a location that falls under the jurisdiction of the CHP. So apparently they are the ones who take the lead on this situation. I'm not sure exactly like how they work and intermingle with the actual police and everything like that. Like it says Burbank SWAT assisted, like presumably the California Highway Patrol doesn't have like the same resources, or at least like, you know, physically to do like a SWAT style raid. But as
because California Highway Patrol is typically for patrolling the California Highway. Where that stadium is, the reason why it's CHP, I did some research on this. A highway used to run through that. The highway was torn down and rerouted, and now you have that stadium where the concert was. But the initial usage of that land was for California Highway and the California Highway system. It just had, you know, I guess, you know, company stepped in, money started talking, and they decided, hey, instead of continuing the highway system over here, we are going to make this for sports and entertainment access. Now, with that all being said, considering the fact that the original point and plan for it was to be a California highway system for that land, not an amphitheater, stadium, or wherever this event was, California Highway Patrol never lost the jurisdiction over that land.
On here, CHP.
So the highway was rerouted, but the jurisdiction of law enforcement was not.
In fact, is taking the lead on this. We're told that cops were executing a search warrant for the investigation into Draco the Ruler's M, and the property is connected to YG, who had beef with the lay rapper but has denied any involvement. A CHP official tells TMZ that YG was not arrested, and he was detained during the search warrant and released. The timing is especially wild. YG is scheduled to take the stage tonight against fellow Compton heavyweight The Game in their Compton Forever versus battle. The hit-for-hit West Coast showdown is slated to begin tonight. So, my first thought when I heard about
I ain't saying that the police is gonna raid that versus, but I'm telling everybody that I know you might want to skip that. I ain't saying the police is gonna raid it, but I just don't see a reason to be there should you not need to be there. You feel me?
This was...
And like how we need to breathe to live, how we need to drink water to live, how we need to eat to live. Yeah, like need. Not really, really want to, but like need to be there. Because, nigga, if this don't got the setting, if this don't have the setting of we're going to get everybody in the same room to lock you niggas up, I don't know what is.
Damn, I guess the verses ain't happening. But apparently it is, because they didn't hold him for too long. Okay, this is just another shot of him getting picked up for misdemeanor DUI.
This nigga has his Ferrari on the curb. Nigga, did you park the Ferrari on the curb? Goodness gracious.
After cops found him outside his car, which had gone over a curb. Okay, this is totally unrelated. But the reason why this is really standing out as being of interest is because there's just been so much going on in regards to the Draco the Ruler murder in recent months. Now, the first and most notable thing is, like what I said, the fact that CHP came to the office and they want to speak to Munchie B and they want to speak to me. Obviously, Munchie B is somebody that most of us assume is not either the person who actually committed the murder or a potential witness, right? Being blind really kind of absolves you of all of that stuff, right? But when I hear about YG getting pulled over and them executing a search warrant, I'm assuming that you're not going to find anything in his car in regards to his involvement in this kind of thing, right? But what does he have? He has a phone. And the phone has all the conversations.
Man, that phone is what's going to get disgusting. The phone is always a phone. It's always a phone. It's always
ever had. It's got all the phone calls he's ever made. And presumably, there could be things from that time period. I assume that they're going to be looking back to the months preceding Draco's death as well as the months afterwards. And I'm assuming that they are looking for digital assets that could potentially be found on YG's phone. And I would assume the same thing about Munchie.
Now, when they say looking for digital assets, you just got to be careful with this whole situation, because anything to do with a phone, if they're looking for Munchie B, I would assume they want to see Munchie B's phones, phone records, social media, all that kind of stuff. And even at this point, even if you got rid of the phone, all they got to do is subpoena T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, whomever you have been, whatever with, and they'll get those records. But that's what they want to see. You can make it hard for us, you can make it easy for us, but we want that phone.
That could potentially be found on YG's phone, and I would assume the same thing about Munchie. Munchie is, if I were a betting man, I would say he would be more likely to have something incriminating on his phone than to have actually taken part in it in real life. That being said, I would also assume that Munchie's probably not really involved in any meaningful way into this stuff. But if he was to have anything that could be used for...
Now, I don't think that Munchie B was involved in any flu, flammery, skullduggery, or larceny. I don't think anybody thinks that Munchie B was actually involved in any flu, flammery, skullduggery, or larceny. I think that because of his own admissions of passing the bottle to the person who did it, Munchie B has information that could be prevalent to the case. Munchie B has information that could make the police go, that makes sense. So I can see that situation. I don't see anything else outside of that.
The cops, I would assume it would probably be on his phone. And when I hear about YG getting detained for a couple hours and then let go, I'm thinking the same thing, is that they wanted that phone, they wanted access to it. I don't know to what extent they actually have to get the phone, or are they able to just access it via a search warrant? Do they have enough evidence to really tie YG to Draco's murder? Maybe that's why they couldn't get a search warrant. I assume... maybe I'm giving him a little too much credit, but I assume that if YG was in any way involved in the planning of the killing of Draco the Ruler, that he would not be stupid enough to have stuff related to that on his phone. As crazy as it sounds, people still can do real life meetups. People can still, I don't know, maybe use like an app like Signal or something. There's all kinds of things you could do that wouldn't make it as easy on the cops in terms of finding.
Like, leave your phone at home and do like they did on The Sopranos. Go actually meet up and talk. You niggas need to go to the beach and go stand in the ocean and have a conversation. Niggas don't go to the beach and stand in the ocean and have illicit conversations anymore. That's for sure how you niggas need to do this. Everybody just go to the beach. Y'all get your bathing suits. Y'all just go stand in the ocean. Y'all gonna talk about what y'all gotta talk about. Everybody leave their phones just at the house. We gonna meet at the beach at Pier 42 at 3 o'clock. Don't be late.
And that information on your phone. I'm not gonna lie. My plans after seeing this take place is I am taking the business card that CHP gave me and I'm going to give them a ring. I already called them once, they didn't pick up, but I'm going to call them again just because I don't want them showing up at my office all surprised. We got the SWAT team with us. You know, I'm not worried about having a phone call with them.
Damn, Adam's saying that he's cooperating. He ain't tripping. Don't come around here kicking no doors. Don't show around here. And look, that's like a dog whistle. Adam's telling the police, look, bro, I know y'all all watching No Jumper. Pick up my call so y'all don't got to kick my door in.
And if they do, and I'm going to give them a ring. I already called them once, they didn't pick up, but I'm going to call them again just because I don't want them showing up at my office all surprised. We got the SWAT team with us. You know, I'm not worried about having a phone call with them. And if they do have intentions of, you know, detaining someone like Munchie B, I would rather just get in front of that and say, hey, if you guys want to have a conversation.
Whoa. So Adam's going to help the police detain Munchie. What the heck is going on between the sheets in my home? Adam just said that he was going to help the police detain Munchie B. Goodness gracious. The setup is real. I bet you he go back to No Jumper this week. I bet you after this come out, he'll be back at No Jumper next week. I'll bet anybody any amount of money. I'll put the Rich Trapper pendant on it. After he do, I guarantee it.
With me, we can talk. Like, honestly, you could have a gun to my head. I don't have information about what happened to Draco. But the other reasons why this is so notable right now is the fact that our little friend, yes, indeed, the LA gang member who killed Draco the Ruler and multiple Crips. You know him. You love him. His name is Flakko. And Flakko put out this video 3 months ago, has about 500,000 views. Obviously, you can buy Flakko's course, which you would be a fool not to. But Flakko put out this video,
He's a friend.
in which he basically makes the claim that there's a guy. Actually, you're going to see him in about 2 seconds. Where is he? Yeah, this guy right here. So his name is Frankenstone.
This nigga did not have anything to do with this situation. Golly, this is crazy.
And I don't really know a whole lot about Frankenstone, even after Flakko doing this sort of expose. But Frankenstone is the guy that Flakko claims is actually being investigated and that police believe was the one who did the final stabbing that could have really ended Draco's life. And from sources that I've heard, the whole scuffle, the whole melee that was taking place with Draco, I know it's probably like tempting for a lot of people to say, oh, well, you know, it was a ton of different guys jumping Draco at the same time. So it's going to be almost impossible to say that any.
But even if it's 1 million people who did it, y'all all gonna catch the same time. It don't matter because it's so hard to determine who dealt the fatal blow. Everybody did it as far as the court is concerned.
But he specifically took his life. Okay, sure, makes sense. But what if, and this is kind of based on conversations I've had with people, what if there was one person who, after most of the jumping, after most of the beating had already been administered, what if there was one person who really delivered like a decisive blow with a knife to an area of his body that would have almost certainly took his life? I have heard, this is what I've heard.
Keep in mind, this is what this nigga heard. I ain't heard nothing. So, look, I'm about to show y'all how cold my non-hearing is. I'm finna walk away. I'm gonna let the content play for y'all, and then I won't even react or say nothing about this specific part because I don't even want to hear nothing.
I've heard that there is a person, and I'm not gonna go into detail maybe a security guard, but at the very least somebody who was there, who was on Draco's side, I would assume. I don't think it was somebody who just like worked for the venue, but apparently this person has shared with the police his belief that this guy was the one, that Frankenstone was the one who stabbed Draco the final blow. So if the cops actually do have a eyewitness who's willing to say that they believe that he did it, now I would assume that he was masked. That's going to make it a little bit harder, I would assume, to really like decisively say, hey, this is the guy who did it, if he was masked. But I'm not 100% sure about that. But that is a rumor that I've heard. I don't tend to bring rumors to the table all too often, but I've heard that from a pretty verified source, that they do have a witness that is claiming that he has more inside knowledge about exactly who delivered the final blow. And maybe I'm just conflating things, but my source says that this is the guy that has been identified, and I think that is the intelligence that Flakko was given a couple months ago. You feel me? So is it true? Do I have any insider knowledge that this is the guy? No, but the rumor that I heard is that this guy is the one who's really being primarily investigated on top of that. So further information.
Now that I'm done not hearing that, let's continue on.
That I have. I will not say the name, but I have another rumor coming from a very, very official source. And this rumor is that at one point, the LAPD, well, I don't know, was it the CHP, was the LAPD? I didn't really get that detail clear. But that some law enforcement reached out to a blogger who has been covering this case extensively.
Now, this is where it's about to get tricky, because the person he's talking about is Flakko. We're about to easily prove that. It's looking like ADAM22 and Flakko put out a little flu-flam, and Munchie B is on a wiretap, as it's about to be explained, talking about this situation and giving out Flakko's address. Let's put these pieces together real quick by words of Flakko himself. Let's hear what Adam has to say, and then we'll link it all up real quick, smooth, and in a hurry.
And told him that basically they identified his address being shared on a wiretap by associates that are suspected of having taken Draco's life.
Oh, ish. Y'all remember Flakko was just going off saying, man, Munchie B. Hold on, let me show y'all this real quick.
No, that's dumb. That's just dumb. That's almost as dumb as you sending people my address.
And told him that basically they identified his address being shared on a wiretap by associates that are suspected of having taken Draco's life.
Damn, so y'all done got caught on an alleged wiretap, sharing that boy address in an open unalivement case. Goodness gracious. On this episode of World's Dumbest Criminals, after everybody just saw what happened to Loose Cannon, we still do. All right, man. Goodness gracious. All right, sheesh. Now, I do think it's funny that ADAM22 tried to be all cryptic and secretive about it.
Another rumor coming from a very, very official source.
But we all know Flakko can't help but to take the credit.
No, that's dumb. That's just dumb. That's almost as dumb as you sending people my address. Oh, you thought they didn't know about that? Now ask yourself how I know about that. Now, just ask yourself, how do I know?
And again, just, I don't know why he's trying to be extra cryptic about it and make it seem like he's like extra cool with this inside police plug. No, because the police job is to actually protect and serve. And that's what they were doing. They were protecting and serving. Your name came up on a wiretap. Your address came up. You were a person of a possible threat. So they did what they had to do to protect you. Let's let Adam explain it one more time.
At one point, the LAPD, well, I don't know, was it the CHP, was it the LAPD? I didn't really get that detail clear. But that some law enforcement reached out to a blogger who has been covering this case extensively.
Yeah, so I know you're confused like a damsel in distress, but Adam just pretty much explained exactly what was going on. So let's continue on with the setup.
This man don't even understand how much nonsense he done got himself in, man. That's a different story for another day.
Damn, it's looking like Flakko and tricked Munchie B off the streets. Could this have gone back as far as 2 years ago, though, when he first brought Munchie B onto the No Jumper for that Draco the Ruler interview? That was way too much talking.
Something that I didn't know was true.
He got his teeth knocked out?
And he said that Ralphie got some new teeth because he got it knocked out. And I never heard Ralphie gotten his teeth knocked out before.
Yeah, he ain't got veneers by choice.
And he got knocked out where? In jail?
Yeah.
And how you know this?
Cause my the homies did it. The homies did it.
Sheesh. Cold setup. 2 years in the making. That boy Flakko say when you beef with him, you beef forever. Let's get back into what ADAM22 talking about, though.
So, notably, just on Tuesday, I got into a big argument about, will dudes in the streets hurt somebody who's a journalist? This was in the conversation about Traplo Ross and if he was basically going to be in danger if he goes to Aunt Hefe's courtroom, even though he is technically legally allowed to do so. That conversation, I basically said that at this point, nobody really thinks that gang members are going to do anything to members of the media. This at least...
Okay, well, just because you don't think they're going to do something doesn't negate the fact that something can happen to you. So let's not take that lightly.
There's some evidence that might not always be true, because as much as it was an old address, it was an address that was not technically in use right now. But apparently it was serious enough that the cops reached out to this blogger and said, hey, there is at least some attempt to figure out...
And now we know that blogger is Flakko.
...where you lay your head at.
Allegedly.
Night. So that's pretty big news. That's pretty interesting. That really makes me not want to share anything that hasn't been aired out publicly. But in addition to that, what does that tell you? It tells you that everybody who's on the wrong side of this whole thing is potentially, and I'm not saying 100%, but potentially having their phones wiretapped. Nobody should be having conversations like it's all good on their actual phones if they are the type of people who know anything about this situation, okay? I'm not saying that because I want people to go and cover their tracks or whatever. I would assume that most of the damage has already been done. But, for most of the people involved in this, myself included, has my phone ever been tapped? I don't know. Probably not. Probably most of the other people.
Boy, your phone hotter than a big lighter under a metal spoon. Stop playing.
Involved in this. You remember that Drake lyric? He said, y'all be talking on the phone like you never had your phone tapped?
Big lighter on top of a metal spoon. Wait, no, a big lighter under a metal spoon. I had that right.
When I heard that, it made me realize, damn, once you realize that it's possible that your phone could be tapped, I mean, myself personally, I watch what I say in texts because I know that shit could get, pulled up in a lawsuit. But as far as being careful about the phone calls that you're having, I would assume that a lot of the people who are on the wrong side of this are not being careful about what they're saying on the phone. Okay, so there are probably wiretaps being done. There are bloggers whose information is being shared, although hopefully the perpetrators of that sort of thing, hopefully they cool the fuck off now that they realize that this situation is getting a lot more serious. But the final thing that I think that you might want to take note of is the fact that, YG did a song a month ago called We Know the Truth. And in the track, YG pushes back against the long-standing accusations that he was involved in the stabbing that occurred backstage of the Once Upon a Time in LA festival. And, when you go back and you read the lyrics, it is kind of crazy how lame some of these lyrics are, no offense. They say, I murdered this, I murdered that. Well, if that was true, you'd be a rat, and I'd be in the cell sleeping on a rack. Remember I did a dramatic reading of this on the podcast? I don't know. To me, I'm reading this just bro.
Very poetic.
This is some Dr. Seuss type
no Flakko
stuff right here. Either way, YG putting out this song is obviously not an admission of any guilt. In fact, it's quite the opposite. This is him trying to really, really distance himself from anything in the media that has been said, linking him to this whole case. Like, keep in mind, like, when Draco got killed, I remember the next day that we were doing the news, and 1090 Jake had just put out a video, like right after Draco got killed. He put out a video with Draco and YG in the thumbnail, like basically making the case, hey, YG was probably involved in this. I don't know why 1090 did that. Even at that time, I don't really think that there was like hard evidence.
1090 Jake was definitely weird for that, but that's why he has that multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Byron Blake going right now. Byron Blake is suing 1090 Jake. Unrelated, but here we are.
Evidence that YG did it. But, you know, YG was the guy that he was beefing with. I remember people around me at that time telling me, like, Adam, don't even mention that 1090 video because this situation is way, way, way too serious, you know? But either way, it does stand out that finally, after 5 years, YG decided to put out a song in which he, you know, really explicitly backtracks on the whole idea that he could have done anything to Draco. Now, it's kind of understandable that he would choose to do so at this time, since we are coming off of Flakko making his video in which he basically, well, I guess in Flakko's video, he didn't actually accuse YG of having anything to do with it. If anything, he accused somebody completely different. But there has been a lot of chatter about it, so you kind of understand why YG would want to separate himself from it to a certain extent. But yeah, that is basically the gist of what I know at this time. And I guess I'm going to stay.
So Adam had to make sure he just slipped in that little piece of information, man. Y'all better stop sending them threats at that boy Flakko. Boy, because this situation right here is getting tricky, nigga. You on a wiretap giving up that boy information, and Flakko has already made it public that he knows that you gave up his information, and now he's like, damn, how do I know? How do I know? Because the police hit you, nigga. That's how you know. Police hit you. The police told you, because you don't have a plug on law enforcement. You are a subject of a threat, and they did what law enforcement is supposed to do: protect and serve and keep you safe.
On top of this, and let you guys know as soon as we find out anything new. But I guess I want to know how you guys feel about it. Does it make you happy to know that really, like, the last great LA rapper, Draco the Ruler, that his murder seems to be getting closer to being resolved? Or are you guys such burnt out street cats that you guys would rather the street code stay in effect, and would you rather, you know, this crime not go solved because you would rather have the gang members protected? I don't know. I don't really know where you guys are at on that, but that's the information that we have.
We up out here to the next one, though, man. Make sure y'all give No Jumper a like, comment, subscribe for everything that they got going on. This is wild work. We finna jump up out of here, man. Red dots to the left, you know the rest. We go.